When this church first started, we purchased land and we built the first building. On the very first Sunday, the first building that we built, I had the opportunity to baptize my daughter. At the time, she was 9 years old, and by the time she graduated from Lakota West High School in 2002, there were about 25 seniors in that youth group, and when they graduated, there were about 25 of those kids who continued their advanced education in Christian colleges. And once a year, they still meet and have a reunion here in the Westchester area.
After the church had grown sufficiently and we were able to purchase the property, our thoughts of building a church worship center became a reality. Unfortunately, the church had no collateral, so we had to have collateral to secure a loan to build the new building.
And fortunately, at that time, there were 12 leaders in the church, along with their families, who were willing to put up their homes as collateral for a loan to build the first building. And it's through their faith, their willingness to do that, that we all share now all the mission opportunities here at Center Pointe. So it was kind of by their faith and God's provision that we were able to actually build the facilities here that we all now enjoy, and where hundreds of people over those 30 years have come to know Christ. The reality is now that we just don't have room, and if we expect other people in this community to share with us here at Center Pointe, we have to make a commitment, just like those original leaders in our church, to step out in faith and be willing to allow others to come and enjoy the same opportunities that we had.
In 2 Corinthians chapter 9, Paul reminds us to be generous with our giving. Remember this, whoever sows sparingly will reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously. Each man should give what he has decided in his heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to make all grace abound to you, so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work.
I would like to think that all that we've seen this church accomplish, that greater things will be accomplished.
One thing I would say is you can start small. And, as you give, you'll see the blessings that you'll get from giving, but you don't have to, put your house on the line or anything like that. Start small with what you think you can give, because a little bit goes a long way.
If you don't know, that couple is Glenn and Janet Snyder, who are members of our church. They moved here from the west side of Cincinnati in 1986 and were soon approached about helping start a new church, and they agreed. And in January of 1987, this church had its first gathering in their living room. And I appreciate and agree with what Glenn said. With all this church has accomplished, I believe greater things are still to be accomplished. Have you ever thought about how one decision would impact the rest of your life? Or how one decision that you make would impact the rest of somebody else's life? That's what I thought about when I watched this video, that one decision to move from the west side to the best side of Cincinnati. If this is not the best side, you should go somewhere else, right? Come on. West side to best side of Cincinnati, it completely altered the trajectory of their life, and it was a lower story decision. They moved here for the school district. They moved here to send their kids to a new school district where they believed they would get a quality education. That was the purpose of their moving here. They didn't buy a house to build a church. But there's always two stories. We've talked about that. There's always two stories. There's our lower story and there's God's upper story. And God's upper story, He's weaving redemption into our lower story decisions, into our lower story circumstances. And so Glenn and Janet moved here. That was a lower story decision. But then God used that move to become the launching of this church. That was an upper story of redemption. Now, what would have happened if they had decided not to move? I mean, would this church still have launched? Would it still have started? Absolutely, it would have. This church starting wasn't dependent upon their moving. God would have just used somebody else. That would have been a different couple in that video. But they said yes to a move, and they said yes to launching a church, and it changed the trajectory of their life. It changed the trajectory of their kids' life. They became part of something much bigger than themselves, and they've got to watch God do incredible things through this church, but not only watch, they've been able to participate in that. And here's the point I want to make. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 16, verse 18, I will build my church. I will build my church. Not, I will build my church if Glenn and Janet move. Not, I will build my church if Shawn and Janelle will leave their other ministry and move here. Not, I will build my church if Shawn preaches great sermons. Hallelujah. Thank God for that. It's not dependent upon me. I will build my church if we have great worship environments. I will build my church if the elders have the courage to step out and finish phase 5. I will build my church if John and Sally will be generous to this initiative. That's not how it works. Jesus said, I will build my church and not if, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it. The word Hades means death. The gates of death will not overcome it, meaning I will build my church and nothing will stop it. Death has a way of stopping things. Jesus says, not even death will stop my church. Nothing can stop my church. In fact, as the church was gaining traction in the early days, in Acts chapter 5, the Pharisees were becoming concerned and they felt like they got to shut this movement down. And this wise Pharisee named Gamaliel said, hey, just time out for a second. Let's just step back. Listen, if this is of human origin, it will fail. If it's of God, you will not stop it. And if you can't stop it, you better join it. Jesus said, I will build my church and nothing will stop it. It will be built with or without me. With or without my commitment, with or without my involvement, with or without my generosity. That's a choice that I get to make. Will God build his church with me or without me? That decision is totally up to me. If I choose that he's going to do it without me, I miss out on some incredible opportunities for God to work in me and on me and through me. If I choose for God to do it without me, I miss out on the opportunities to grow spiritually. I miss out on all that God does in building up his church. I miss out on being a part of the only thing that really matters in this life, and that is bringing the kingdom of God to the chaos of earth. That's a big miss on my part. But if I choose, yeah, God, I'm all in. If I go arms up and hands open and say, hey, whatever, wherever, whenever, however, I want to be used by you, build your church with me. I want to participate in that. My life changes radically. My life changes completely. I get to be part of the greatest movement and the greatest force on the planet. I get to be a part of God's plan A of redemption for humanity, which is the church. I get to take my lower story plans and find upper story purpose in it. And that's what unfinished really is. It's an opportunity for all of us to join in on what God's doing right here. That's not only making a difference here, but it is making a difference across the world in the places that we partner with, like China, and like the mission we partner with in Ghana, and Jamaica, and the Dominican Republic, and Israel. Like McKenna, who you just met some ladies who are going to spend their summer going to a third world country to serve the kingdom. And McKenna, a few years ago, was somebody's one here. Anna Holder was a good friend with McKenna. McKenna was her one. She'd been praying with McKenna. She invited her to come to church. McKenna came to church. Eventually, Anna baptized her. And now she's serving the kingdom of God. Right? Because she was a one. Last weekend, we had our largest attendance in the history of our church, 2,308 people here. Why did we jump up 1,000? Because of those people right there that you've been praying for and that you invited. And I had one lady say, I've been praying for my ones. I invited them to come, and they did. Like, we're so surprised. Right? But it actually works. Pray for them, have a relationship, invite them. They say yes, and eventually they become like McKenna. And McKenna is now going to another country to lead some more ones to Jesus. That's what happens when this thing grows. Right? And that's the opportunity that we have, that as we grow here, our influence grows across the globe. It's not just here, but across the globe. Like in building this building, what we're doing is partnering with Jesus to build up his church, because this new building will allow us to more than double our impact with kids, double our impact with students, double our impact with adults, so they can come and experience the unconditional love of Jesus, be transformed by his grace, and go out and continue to build his kingdom. That is how it works. Gamaliel was right. If it's of God, you cannot stop it. And this is of God. He is building his church, and we have the opportunity to allow him to do it with us. With us. And that's what this building is going to provide. It's not just going to be a place that's open on Sunday morning. We don't want to build a building that is full on Sunday and empty every other day of the week. We want to build a building that's going to be a blessing to our community. A place where moms can bring their kids over for an indoor play experience while they connect with other moms and get the encouragement that they need to keep doing the things that they're doing, to be reminded that what they do is important. To be a place where people can come and get work done in our lobby, or a place where our community can come and have meeting space, or our groups can come and have meeting space. We want to see these doors always open, not just a Sunday morning, but throughout the week, as we try to be a blessing to this community, use this facility for whatever the needs of the community may be at any given time. And one of the things we've not been able to do before today is kind of show you some pictures of what this is going to look like. And so I'm going to invite Ryan White, our executive pastor of operations, to come out and kind of walk you through the building and give you a little context.
Sweet. Did anybody else feel like singing With or Without You? That's all I could think about while Shawn was out here. God will build this place with or without you. So I am not the singer. We'll leave that to him. I'm excited to do this. If you've seen a drawing of the building, that was months ago. And because of Shawn's leadership, that's completely changed. So thankfully, they didn't make us pay for the architect's coronary when I talked to her about we've spent 4 months on this, and we want to significantly change it. So, but after 5 weeks and no increased cost, really, we have what we're pretty excited about in a final design. We want to show you some modeled pictures of that today. We do have a walkthrough available, but I was not very good at the controls in trying to get that recorded. So we're going to see some pictures. Hopefully, they're exciting for you. I love seeing it. It's exciting to think about this filled with people. So there it is. Oh wait, that's our current building. You walked into this building today. So if we go to the next screen, this is on the east side. Will be our main entrance, our worship center, and I do apologize. Some of the scaling and stuff is off because of how we had to take pictures of this, but this is pretty exciting. It's about 35,000 square feet of new space, upstairs and downstairs. So the next shot, this is kind of a view right at our front doors. So if you're walking in, you're going to see some glassed entry, and then we can walk right in and see our new lobby space. And again, the view is a little off, but we'll have a welcome center right up front for our guests, for questions. Off to the left there, you can see a cafe area, which is right outside the front of the worship center, where we'll be able to have coffee and such. And we will have this prepared so that it can be full service down the road if we would like. So we could have a coffee shop available all the time if we want to do that, and if we feel that God is leading us that direction. The next shot is something we're really excited about. We're going to have our baptistry in the lobby. So it is available all the time, every day. Right now it's in here. It's somewhat difficult for managing people in and out. You've got a lot of lights to turn on, and it's just not very convenient. It's also not very convenient on Sunday mornings when all the friends of the kids want to come in and watch, or your family wants to come in and see you or your other families be baptized, because those seats are already full. And now how do I get in and really view it? So we currently will video it. We will do the same thing. So if there's a baptism during service, which there will be one today, you will see it live from video. But our families and our friends can be right there around us and celebrate us in a more intimate environment. And we're pretty excited about what that provides, as well as during the week. You're here or you're out talking to a friend and they want to become a Christ follower immediately, and they're like, hey, let's get baptized. You can come. We'll unlock the door and you can go to it. It'll be ready all the time, just as it is, but in a very convenient location. So we're pretty excited about that piece. The next shot is pretty plain, but this is the two double doors on the right and the left are the entrances to the worship center, and the wall in the middle there will be our what we might call the Next Steps hub. So we're going to have tables there, or iPads, information, people that can help. If you have any questions about Next Steps at Centerpoint, that's where you're going to go. And so whatever it may be. I want to go to the men's retreat. It's coming up on May 4th. You can sign up for it there. I want to go to the women's gathering that's next week. You can go there. I want to figure out what mission trips are next year. That's where you'll go. So we're pretty excited about being able to have one main area where you can get help in any direction. If you need more specifics, we'll guide you to the right place. So let's jump inside the new worship center. And this is, I couldn't take a full view. So this is like one side, and then we'll pop over, and it looks like the same picture, but there's the other side. And there's about 1,200 seats in the worship center. I think right now it's around 1,190 chairs. And we put an all flat floor in. And we were going to have stadium seating in the back, but it saves us a significant amount of money to not do that. But it also allows us the opportunity to use the room in different ways for community-type events and church events. So I can fill this whole room with tables and chairs rather than just the front half of it. So we gain some flexibility and usability out of it by doing that. The next slide, we kind of picked a seat right out in the middle, and there's kind of the view of the stage. Just because we have double the seating doesn't mean that we're going to lose the intimacy that we have in a room like this. So the room is only going to be about 8 feet deeper than it is now, but there will be seating all around. And so we can stay together, great views of the stage and what is happening, and be really connected through that without losing something because we're growing in size. And that's pretty important to us. The next screen is exciting because we were going to lose this space. In the original design, we had the student center as our lobby. So we were going to have to redo that, demo it all, going to be a cafe and restrooms and all of that in there. But Shawn's question led to this change. And while we are willing to take the delay in time, because what we have gained is a large multi-purpose room that allows us to be able to do things that we couldn't before or would not have been able to do. So we can have community events in this room. So next month, Liberty Township is having a large discussion around some planned growth and some stuff where they're having more people than they can fit in their building at the meeting. So we've offered them space. The only room we have for them is this room, which more than fits 150 people. This room will be perfect for meetings like that, for small group training, for coaches training, for ministries as well as community businesses and environments. So we're pretty excited about that. The room will be able to be cut in half, so you can have two things going on at once, or it can be used as one whole room. So we're pretty pumped. Also excited about the next slide, which shows our play area that we're going to have right in the front of the lobby. We want you to bring your friends and their kids. And dads, you can come too. We'll have a dad hour, like middle of the night, so nobody can see you playing. We know you want to do that. This glass wall will actually be gone because I felt that it's taking up too much room from that. So we'll have this whole room available for use. And so bring them. And while you're here, communicate the excitement of what God is doing in this community. Because that's why we're doing this whole thing. This is a tool. This is not the goal. The tool that we have allows us to do things a little differently than we've been able to in the past. It's exciting. And hopefully you can tell that. So if we move downstairs, This will be the next-gen lobby space for dropping kids off. Now you know you go to like 4 different places. You have nurseries, preschool, and all elementary within this space to be able to drop kids off and be able to move in and out of the rooms to do that. So very localized, it's secure, it's exciting, the kids are going to have fun. So I've got a couple pictures of what the nurseries will look like. So you'll actually enter into a space and drop them off over these walls or doors and then be able to leave. We'll be able to fully secure that room quickly if needed for any reason. The next room shows the new preschool area that we'll be having because they'll move out of what is now the clubhouse. If you can go to that next slide. Awesome. So it shows a little stage and some lighting, and that room is bigger than what they have now. The next slide shows the current clubhouse, which is where our preschool meets. This is where the kindergarten to 2nd grade meet, and the 3rd through 5th grade will meet in what is now the backyard, if you know those names. So it's exciting to see the growth. And just so you're aware, these students will meet in here. So middle school and high school will meet in this room once we move to the new worship center, which allows them a significant amount of space for growth, for activity, for whatever it is that high schoolers do today that we don't understand. They'll be able to do it in here. And I'm glad we have a couple great student pastors to be able to lead them through that and to lead us to new places. So we talk a lot about double impact. Well, I'm excited to say that in this building we've been able to triple our impact in the next slide. So take a look at that. More urinals. But I will have you know, Aaron Edwards, there are more bathroom stalls for women than men. So you will not believe how many conversations I've had about this. So just to put all you women at ease, we have leveled the playing field for you, all right? No, it's fun to joke. Shawn talks about only one urinal, and it is true, but we don't seem to have a problem, but we're excited about what this whole building brings to the community. I couldn't get a note on there that says reserved for Shawn, but I tried. So the next slide, just again, this is our mission. We're here because of God and Jesus, and we're here because of our community and the needs that the community has. And not just for Jesus, but daily, everyday needs. We want to help with that. And so I just want to share with you that I am encouraged daily as we receive your commitments. You received a letter. If you made a commitment, you received a letter that was signed by Shawn. He signed those letters, and then we filled in the numbers. There are only 2 to 3 people that know what is committed of your commitments. Shawn doesn't know what they are, and we did that purposefully so that he could just truly be your pastor. But when I see those come in, I am challenged by the conversations I know that are happening in your home and the conversations that I've had with people and the number that shows up when you don't have a job. The biggest encouragement was from a couple who, the husband had lost his contract job, didn't have a job, and they made a commitment significantly over and above what they were already giving. Now, he has a job now, but that's faith. That's our biggest desire for you, is that you have the conversations that lead to consistent, eternal growth. It's not just about money. We care about your heart and your faith and the relationship with God. So, with that being said, hopefully you're excited, and hopefully you're ready to join with us in this. Shawn's got a few things to say, and appreciate him and his leadership through this. So this has not been an easy process for you. And so appreciate him and what he's put into it. So.
Yeah, well, and that's mutual. Ryan is the interface for the contractor, for the architect, for the county, and he has just done a tremendous job, and he's put up with me coming in all the time, just asking questions and throwing out what-ifs, because I did launch a grenade a few weeks ago, and Ryan just looked through it and said, let me see what I can do. And I think we got a better building because of it, but I just so appreciate his diligence and his patience, and he's done just a tremendous job, so can you help me appreciate him? Yeah. This has been such an incredible journey, and like Ryan said, I did not want to see the numbers So I don't know what those are, but I've gotten to hear the stories behind the numbers, and that's what was important to me. And I had one guy last week, I'll just share this with you real quick. He just said, hey, we needed our house to appraise for $230,000 in order to give the monthly commitment that we felt led to give. And he was just so excited. He's like, guess what? Our house appraised for like $230,000. And he's like, guys, God is so good. And it's just stories like that that are evidence of God's faithfulness as we step out with boldness. And so I'm so proud of you as a church, of us as a church, for the faith that it's taken to get us where we are today. And so today is the big reveal. And so Commitment Sunday was 2-3 weeks ago, and we've had commitments roll in since then. And so today we're going to reveal the number. I'm going to ask for our helpers to come out. We recruited some help today to show you what these numbers are. And so here's our cute little helpers. Look at them. Look at them. And then there's a big kid standing right there. It's my big kid right there. So behind these numbers, our goal was 100% engagement, that 100% of those of us who call Center Point home would go on this journey. And so there's numbers behind these letters that represent 402 commitment cards between adults and students, and 120 brand new givers who've never given anything to Center Point. And so that's what these numbers are. And so are you guys ready? I feel like we need a drum roll or something. All right. Yes.
All right, you guys ready? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, get out of the way. Where are you going?
I figured out what our,
Okay, he's a dollar sign.
Right there. So we got okay, Jenna, come over here. Right there.
We did this once and
How's
still can't
that?
get it right.
No, in the first hour they clapped.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, you guys were right in not clapping. That's not even our budget. Yeah, somebody was saying like that's wrong.
I guilted them into clapping.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
All right, Evie, you can come here. You go to the end. You guys need to switch. Yeah, that's better. How about that? Hold on. Somebody just texted me. Ah, crud. What? Oh. I guess that's wrong. 2. So, Carter, right here where Caitlin is. Campbell, you need to go to the end.
Did that go down or up?
Well, it might have gone down. Apologize.
Huh.
So here you go. Try that out. That's a little better. That's worth clapping about. So are the others. Yeah.
This really is a tremendous number. You can be seated. This just represents the generosity that we knew that this church was capable of, that we were capable of together. And as your pastor, I just want you to know I'm so grateful for your generosity, so grateful for your partnership in what we are doing. And so our goal, as you know, was $10 million. So this is a number worth celebrating. 9.2. That's 92%, right? That's an A. Am I right? Am I right? It's an A where I came from. So we get an A, church, for this generosity. So excited about that. So appreciative of that. Now, some of you today, you haven't filled out a commitment. You're not on the journey yet. It's not too late. You can still be on this journey. We need your partnership on this journey. And more than anything, God desires you to be on this journey because God is building a church and he wants to do it with you. And so you have the opportunity to do that today. In a few minutes, we're going to move to communion and offering. I'll give you instructions about that. But there are commitment cards on the table. If you haven't gotten a chance to do that, you can do that before you leave today. And so today is our first big give. You should have gotten an email from me this week talking about today. It's our first big give toward the Unfinished Initiative. And so as you prepare for how you're going to give today, whether it's online or through the app or with a check or with cash, as you prepare for that, our team put together a video just to kind of recap the last several weeks of this journey. So take a look at this video.
I thought that I would never belong in a church again, and prompted by a move, we decided to go to Center Pointe for one Sunday, and that was almost 2 years ago, and we've never gone anywhere else. And so unfinished means a place where the people around me recognize that they're unfinished as well, and we are unfinished together, and we're working together, and also a place where we could open our doors to people who are like me, who don't think they belong because they're unfinished, and can be a part of what God has in store for us.
Well, one reason why we felt motivated to commit was just the whole reason to get engaged in church was to help others, was to help the one, as we come to find out. We felt very called since going to church to get involved and to get engaged. We felt this was the correct way, the best way, one of the best ways we could do it.
At least for me, I'm super excited about this whole notion of one, and that we're doing this building expansion to reach them, not for us. And so that, as soon as I heard that, I was both feet all in, just super excited about that mission.
Absolutely. And I love, like in Luke, where it talks about, the 99, but he leaves them to go and save the one. And I think about that. I was like, I was someone's one once, and we were all someone's one once. And so now to have the impact on that and to choose that person whom we're going to pray about and that we can bring to this new facility is just great.
I'm supporting and donating to the Unfinished Initiative because I know that I have the ability to make a difference, and even though I'll only be here for the beginning of the construction and not all the way through, I can come back and serve and help after it's all finished.
I'm supporting the Unfinished Initiative because this church has given so much to me spiritually that I feel that it's an honor to be able to give back to help grow this church so that more people can learn and experience the love of Jesus that I have learned while being here.
Challenging us to just fully trust in God and know that no matter what, as long as we're honoring Him, that He's going to see us through and take our blessings and bless other people as well.
In Philippians 1:6, the Apostle Paul writes, "And I am certain that God who began the good work within you will continue His work until it is finally finished on the day when Christ Jesus returns." So here's my challenge to you. What does it mean for God to finish his work in you? What part of your life have you not yet fully surrendered to God? And will you be willing to do that during this journey so that God can finish the good work he began in you? I'm asking all of us to commit to radical, sacrificial generosity so that God can finish his work at Centerpoint of making disciples who make disciples, and so that he can finish his work in each of us individually as we pour ourselves out for the sake of the gospel.
So we're going to go into a time of response. We're going to worship, and then during this worship time, you can move to one of the 4 tables around the room. There's 2 up here, and there's 2 in the back where there's an offering box and a communion table, so you can worship through song. We're going to worship through giving. We're going to worship through communion, but it's active response. So anytime during these songs, you can get up and move to one of those tables. And I know, and if you want to make a commitment, there are commitment cards on those tables as well. And I know for many of you, you're bringing your largest offering ever to the church today. And I know that's, I just want you to know that Janelle and I are in that with you. It's the largest check that we've ever written, period. And we're doing that with joy and with great anticipation and with thanksgiving, and partnering together with God and with you to finish the work that was started here. And our motivation for giving, our motivation for finishing this work comes from Jesus, who was the most generous and most committed person to ever walk the planet. And in John chapter 4, you might remember he's having a conversation with the woman at the well, and before he has that conversation, he sends his disciples into town to get some food. And at the end of the chapter, they come back with some food and try to get him to eat something. And here's how that conversation goes. But he said to them, "I have food to eat that you know nothing about." Then his disciples said to each other, "Could someone have brought him food?" "My food," said Jesus, "is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work." Jesus said, my nourishment, my spiritual nourishment comes not from consuming, but from contributing. I get my energy from doing what God has given me to do and from finishing his work. Jesus was all about finishing the work. And the work of salvation was finished on the cross. In fact, he announced it just before he died. He said, "It is finished." Our salvation was made secure. But the work of making disciples, the work of telling others, the work of building the church is far, far from finished. And what we're doing over the next 2 years is participating with Jesus and helping bring that to completion. What we're doing here today with our first fruit gifts is participating with Jesus to make that a reality, that we as followers of Jesus do not get our nourishment from consuming, but from contributing. That our food, our source of energy comes from doing the work the Father has given us to do and being diligent about finishing it. So I'm going to pray for us, and then we're going to worship. And like I said, anytime that you want to move to one of the tables to give your offering and to take communion, you do that. Father, I just pray that over these next few minutes, that you would do a great thing in us so that you can do a great thing through us. And I pray that above everything, that what's done here today is simply out of worship and response for what you've done on the cross. Thank you, Father, that you've given us life. And thank you that you have challenged us and called us to be life givers to people who need to know your grace. In Jesus' name.